the complex set of lines covering Peru's plain, or the mysterious plateau above Mexico's Oaxaca Valley.
What the fuck?
It's Halloween time again, but it's not going to be a strange one this year. No dumb costumes, no evil Nintendos, and no demonic candy bowls. Just a no-frills game review the way our forefathers intended. The only scary part? We'll be playing a game on the Sega Genesis. Well, other than that, it'll be a totally normal review, I promise. Haunting Starring Polterguy, released in 1993 on the Sega Genesis. Developed and published by Electronic Arts, back when they were developing games still that weren't just sports and first-person shooters. The player takes control of Polterguy, who should probably rub some ointment on whatever's going on there. He's a ghost whose goal is to scare a family out of their 4 different homes because he's seeking revenge. To accomplish this, Polterguy must terrorize each of the 4 members of the Sardini family: Vito, his wife Flo, son Tony, and daughter Mimi. Seriously? Vito Sardini? Yeah, it doesn't sound stereotypical at all. Hey, Vito Sardini! Hey, what's going on? Make you a pasta and some lasagna!
Whoa, what? It's me! I'm dead! Well, I guess it was gonna happen at some time. F it. Let's go see what Patrick's up to. What is all this crap? How many video games does one person need? Is this what he does with his free time? I'm gonna put an end to this. Get him outside, some fresh air, something.
So how does the haunting work? Each home Polterguy terrorizes consists of more than a dozen connected rooms in a nice isometric perspective, with the family members occupying various rooms as designated on an overhead map. When in the same room of a family member, it is the player's job to scare the bejesus out of them using several frightums that are in each room. Frightums are scare points and traps that manipulate objects such as appliances and furniture, which can be activated to scare and raise the family's fear level from calm up to very high until they finally run screaming from the room and eventually the house. 3 different types of scares are available to the player in each room, which can be activated with the A button when the player gets close enough to one. Blue frightums can be jumped into then out of quickly and act as set traps that are activated when the family member is somewhat close to them for a quick scare. Yellow frightums are an automatic type that require at least a little timing to activate and use, as Polterguy jumps into them and they can only be triggered within a certain amount of time if the family member is close enough to them. Hey, it's Slimer! Finally, the most interactive frightums glow green. These can be controlled by the player for a limited amount of time and are just a little bit more effective and fun in scaring the family members. Wanna rush mice at a Sardini? Wanna control a robot? Now's your chance! These also usually have an extra function that can be activated with the A button, which will scare more ectoplasm out of the besieged person. Ectoplasm? Ecto-cooler? What? After the family member runs out of the room, green blobs will be dropped in all the spots that they were scared. Yeah, fear poop. The player must quickly collect all the ectoplasm to replenish the ectometer to continue playing. It's basically a timer that, when it runs out, will force the player into the underworld mode. But more on that in a bit. And no, Kate Beckinsale's not involved, unfortunately.
Let's see. I got something that might work for a scare.
Oh, a random Danny Sullivan appeared on my TV screen. Oh, that makes me warm inside. I love you, Danny. Thanks for being you.
Well, that didn't work. And who the hell is Danny Sullivan?
An important note is that the scares in each room can only be activated one time per room visit, which is noteworthy because the player cannot usually afford to waste a scare, as in there may not be enough scares in the room to run the family member off without leaving and re-entering the room, wasting valuable time. After the family member runs from the room, the player can usually follow them into the next one where they usually are, or check the map and see if there's another person they'd like to go and scare. The player has free reign to travel anywhere in the house at will, which is extremely cool, and it's great to see the various rooms that are all very well designed and furnished. The key to each level is to force the family members to rooms in the house that have doors that lead to the outside. If that happens, the player then has the opportunity to scare the poop out of them one more time to drive them out of the house permanently. If the player can accomplish this with all 4 Sardinis, they move on then to the next house and try it again. It's strange to me that having a frickin' poltergeist in the house terrorizing you wouldn't be enough to have you running out of fear for your life after the first or second scare. What's wrong with these idiot Sardinis? Hey, I run away from the ghost, but I got an eggplant parmesan in the oven! Why does it take so long? Knives flying around the room? It's okay. The grim frickin' Reaper appearing? Who cares? A toilet demon throwing crap at you? I'll just call the plumber in the morning. Forget about it. Get an Italian plumber. Come on. I guess being part Italian doesn't mean you can automatically do a good Sopranos accent. Capiche? And since the Sardini family doesn't always run in the direction you want them to, at times you'll find yourself scaring the same person repeatedly in the same rooms that they bounce back and forth from. Mimi, run for your life in the other way, please! Even though the ectometer can be replenished, all the traveling between rooms and re-scaring the same family members will have it disappearing fast. When it's gone entirely, the Polterguy is forced to play in one of several different underworld dungeons. Here, Polterguy has to collect all the dropped ectoplasm while avoiding bats, bouncing skulls, and monstrous arms coming from the walls. When all the ectoplasm has been collected, Polterguy will return to the house where he left off with a full ectometer. It's tedious, but there is a little skill that's involved here, and you have to be careful, since if the player loses all their energy here, represented by a disappearing painting, the game will be over. So in essence, the player gets 1 life, which has a chance to be replenished. It's a pretty smart gameplay element when you think about it, especially since Polterguy is already dead. So what does losing a life really mean after all? The underworld also contains spells that are dropped that can be collected and used once by the player while in the house. I had trouble getting a couple of them working properly, but the most important ones are definitely the gift wrap scare bomb that will instantly raise the fear level of the Sardini in the room tremendously when exploded, and the Ecto Extra spell that will replenish the player's ectometer entirely, which is great in avoiding heading back down to the underworld and risking death. Well, more permanent death.
Oh, maybe this'll do the trick. Whoa, this is a little weird. It's me, Mario. I'm gonna win. Yeah, baby.
What the fudge? I think that Mario Ball's mad at me. The level's difficulty ramps up a little bit each time as the game progresses, most notably by the appearance of the Sardini family dog and the Ecto Beasts. The dog can see Polterguy and will bark at him if close enough, which reduces the ectometer while at the same time having a calming effect on the family member in the room. A spell can be used to lay down food for the dog to distract him, but staying out of the way works too. The Ecto Beasts will show up to harass the player and steal ectoplasm away from them. They can be dispatched with a mighty wacky undead kick. And while the variety of gameplay doesn't change much, the slight ramp up in challenge from level to level, combined with the fun in activating and seeing all the different scares, of which there are hundreds, is really the draw to this game. In fact, the only real drag is the end boss, which, spoiler, is the family dog who turns out to be a demonic ecto beast himself. You have to defeat it and the brain monsters it turns into by throwing explosives, which is awkward as heck to control, and will have you traveling in and out of the underworld multiple times along the way, which is so just tedious. Come on, you brain-able bastards! Oh, no! Flufferplasm!
Maybe I should be more subtle.
Whoa! Sweet! on, fist pump.
Are you always this much of a goofball? What am I saying?
So the game's not extremely deep by any means, but it's stylish, fun, extremely original, and if you haven't been paying attention at all to this review, very, very gory. Sure, some of the scares are mundane and PG. Oh wow, a painting that moved. Oh no, lips on a couch. Scary. But how about tables dripping blood? Body parts and guts in the trunk of a car. Arms being chopped off. Heads being chopped off. MA13 rating? That's it? This game has some serious violence going down. It's a good thing I skipped out on the beefaroni for lunch. You know what's truly scary? That Tandy computer with its 14.4K Prodigy dial-up service. It's giving me the willies. Look at this scare. Oh, it's a sexy girl dancing in a towel. Ah! You get both boobies and intestines hanging out. I don't know if I should be scared or turned on. The reactions of the scared Sardini family members are greatly illustrated. They scream. Their eyes bug out. They shiver in fear. Their heads, explode? They piss themselves. Literally piss themselves. A pool of piss. That means they're pissing themselves. And even their clothes drop? Say, check out Flo's Badunkadunk. Even Poltergeist got to shout. Great. Now I'll never be able to watch a Progressive commercial innocently ever again. Genesis does.
Damn. Nothing is scaring him out of this game graveyard. Oh, what's that orange thing over there? Hey, this is pretty cool. This should freak out that nerd.
Wow, it's a floating Q*bert. Aw, I just want to hold you and hug you and love you.
Well, this is a little embarrassing.
Who would have thought that a Sega Genesis game could be this daring and unique in its gameplay and design? When you think about it though, it does make sense. At the time, Nintendo was shying away from violence and adult content in their games, hence their awful censorship of Mortal Kombat. While Nintendo had to be dragged to the table kicking and screaming when it came to adult and mature content in games, the Sega Genesis embraced it fully, with games published that were often more violent and more mature in approach. I may mock the system at times, but I have to give them credit. Their game library as a whole took much bigger risks than the Super Nintendo's ever did. And when you look at the pedigree of the creators of Haunting, it makes even more sense how this game came to be. This same development team also created the Atari arcade classics 720 Degrees, Rampart, and Paperboy. All very unique games that were unlike anything that came before them conceptually. But there's some strange stuff going on in this game. And I'm not talking all this weird, scary, gory stuff, but the commentary on capitalism and corporations. So it's revealed that Polterguy died due to a faulty line of skateboards manufactured by Mr. Sardini's company overseas. The skateboards were made with cheap parts and built by robots and underpaid workers. So scaring the shit out of the family is some sort of sick revenge for Polterguy. Alright, you want to show up a big bad capitalist? Fine, that's your right. But what the hell did the wife do to you? And the children for that matter? Why harass them too? So just because you bought a skateboard for $9.99 at Kmart and didn't wear a helmet, that gives you the right to terrorize innocent little children and screw them up in the head for the rest of their lives? That's sort of dickish, don't you think? I understand the message that the developers are sending about cutting corners and producing a product, and how unethical it is to not care about the consumer, which is why it's so ironic and laughable coming from Electronic Arts. Since they would, never release a product that was shoddy and unfinished, and never piss off a ton of customers in doing so. And they wouldn't be named the worst company in America for multiple years. No, never. But then again, this was an entirely different time for EA. Back when the publisher was still willing to put out smaller niche titles, take a risk or two, and cater to more than just the mainstream audience. And that's what makes this title such a standout. It's a fun, gory horror/comedy game that's so unique and daring in its approach, making it a one-of-a-kind experience in the 16-bit era. For a Halloween-themed game, Haunting Starring Polterguy is an absolute treat to play. Treat. Oh, trick or treat. Finally, there's the joke. There! I finally got through a Halloween video without anything too bizarre happening.
Patrick! Leave this room! Go outside! Get some exercise! Talk to a girl!
Rob? Is that you? Are you alive?
Boo! Boo!
Wait, it sounds like Frank? Is that you?
I am the ghost of Frank. Boo!
Why are you talking like that?
Oh, I thought that's how ghosts are supposed to talk. Sorry.
Oh no, Frank, that means you're dead.
Yeah, I know it's tough, kid, but you'll move on.
Now who's gonna go to the flea market with me?
Hey, you little dweeb, I've been here all day trying to convince you to get off your ass. Turn the Nintendo off, go outside and live your life. Show some respect for the dead.
But I wasn't playing Nintendo. I was playing a Sega Genesis.
Sega, fair kid, who cares? I've been trying to scare you out of here all day for your own good, but you're too dumb to realize it.
Have you seen my past Halloween videos? Do you think a flying Cubert compares to any of that?
Screw it. You want to be a loser the rest of your life? Fine. I can't help it if you never kiss a girl.
Again, have you seen my videos?
I'm over it. I'll just go to heaven. Microbrews, MLB 24/7. Girls?
Frank, I don't think heaven is supposed to be your personal pleasure dome. It's widely believed to be a state of well-being and eternal peace.
What? You're telling me in heaven there's no baseball? No broads? No veal parmesan? Fuck that. I'm going back.
Sorry, Frank. I guess I'll see you later.
Yeah, come by later. I'll barbecue some steaks and you get some sides.
Sounds good. About 5:30?
Woo! Woo! Oh, bring some dessert. Woo!
It's still more normal than past years.
Oh, enough of this nap time. I'm alive. I'm alive. This is great. I got a second chance to do everything I'd never had a chance to do. Oh.
The Kebra Nagast is one of the most important texts you've never heard of.